Looky there, the orb's getting close to coming up. Actually got a bright spot in a little 3-corner base. And yeah, it's fuzzy in the hayfield because there's 15-20 feet of ground fog covering that. And, well, everything at that level anyway. So yeah, 55 degrees this morning. That's not too far from what it's been. It was 71 in here before I opened the doors. See if it'll cool down, make it a little more comfortable for a little bit. I think they're still, well, the news said 82 for today. Went to bed last night, my app said 87. As long as the app said anywhere from 87 to 92, we've been 93 to 95, so we will see what the day brings. Get going on this thing in a little bit when it actually cools off enough to lay down there, look up, and not get busy. Caught a thief red-handed. She stole Dino's breakfast. He gives up after he eats so much. You never know how much he's gonna eat. And I spend too much time sitting in here waiting for him. What? So, anyway, thought I'd show you that. 721E. Yeah, she had a bull calf last year. He's in the back barn. Light-colored one that always likes to say good morning to me. That 241's, baby. And of course, Boomer. What? What you think? Huh? 922. For some reason, that's a familiar number. I wonder if anybody knows why. I was trying to get her mama, but, hey, you know. Hey, yeah, Dino got to stand there. And Ty's already here. She's over there feeding a bottle calf. Well, good morning again, Minnie. Minnie is usually in the second hole, maybe the third. Should be the one at the top of the hill when I start pouring grain. Standing there waiting for it. Boomer is usually around the walkway, give or take. Sometimes down into the next section. And those are the two that I mainly notice just because they're the easiest ones to spot, you know? So, go see how Ty's doing down here. Little hernia boy swelled back up. I think we quit treating him a little too soon, but hopefully he's getting better. And yes, there we go. Thailand and Tahoe. And? Oh, I guess I didn't get her on film earlier. I was talking to Hope earlier. She had her own spot in the feeder with the cows for some grain. Oh, and we look out quick. Yeah. Bam Bam was the last one in for grain. When I was at the back barn, he was at the bottom of the hill flirting with one of the heifers on the other side of the fence, and I told him, get up here, you ain't going to eat. He almost missed out on eating because I was almost done feeding when he walked in. But he came in and kind of said, please, I'd like some breakfast. And I told him, don't be late next time. I mean, it's one thing if I sneak into this barn and start here first, but I started there, he knew where I was.
I sneak him some if he's the only one, or if there's another cow with him.
Yeah, sometimes if he's the only one in here, because he'll come in here to get away from everybody sometimes. Unlike Dino, who just annoys everyone so they all leave him alone, right?
Okay.
Anyway, see if we can't get a little motor work done today.
So,
guess who's going to try some children's allergy stuff and see if it keeps her from passing out? There's a little extra noise on the other side of that wall. Our wonderful government. I don't know. I mean, the people are decent to deal with. I think the last one that was in charge of the neighbors was kind of dropped the ball. The new gal, she seems to be paying attention, and she actually has her boss out here today. And there's a guy near the side of the wall right now, weed eating. They're going to weed eat it's supposed to be a 30-foot wide stretch. They're going to keep cleared along the line. We'll see if that happens. And she hates cherry, by the way, and that's cherry flavored. I think that's funny. Anyway, front two mains are in. We just got the thrust to do now. Yeah, I should have been up there talking to him, but we were getting that out. But I got up there, talked to him, and discussed things. God knows what's going to happen. We will see. And
Oh God!
you would think she was trying to clean a cow that hadn't cleaned after about a week.
Oh, I hate cherry.
Okay, that's enough funny stuff. I did get it cooled down in here pretty good, but it's already warmed up. It's about the same temperature it was at 5 o'clock this morning. It was 75 in here. I got it cooled down to 68. And at the moment, it doesn't feel too bad yet, so.
It's like a cherry gum and you can't get the aftertaste out of your mouth. Ugh. No. No. That's wrong.
Maybe she needs an Arkansas credit card and go get some gas out of something. Give it a little too much. That'll take that taste right out of her mouth, trust me.
I doubled what technically an 11-year-old should get, so.
That would be the thrust bearing, yes.
That's the wrong way.
She just bumped the deal on her ratchet. And no, we're not torquing them up yet. We're taking them up snug with the ratchet, which is far from being even a first torque. You're also not pushed into the socket there, kid. Reason being, it'll make it a lot easier to turn for putting the pistons in and connecting the rods. But everything is in now, under here for now. I'm going to start on the liners. And one reason we're not tightening things is we had to turn the crank to get this one in. Because your thrust bearing sticks out on both sides of the cap. And yeah, you can see where the seam, the cast seam is next to the rod bearing or rod drill right there. And that's a little thick. I couldn't get past it, so we had to turn it so we get the bearing to fit through there. Always fun. But like I said, those are all in, all the way to the front. Still a long ways to go, but it should go. Hopefully, if everything goes smooth, we may even should get pistons in today. Might even be to the point of getting the pan on today, maybe, but no, probably not, because we won't put the pan on until probably dead last. Too many other things to do with it, you know. Fish catcher laying down on the job. Hadn't gone too bad today. No, not as many interruptions as yesterday, and not as long interruptions, I should say. Wow, that didn't want to focus in down there at all, did it? Excuse me. Well, they're going to clamp down. And my side of the phone is so dirty, I guess it doesn't matter if it focuses in or not. Looking at that, I can really see how dirty it is. Our hard washers we used on the John Deere weren't big enough. So they started tightening down, they didn't hold. So I had to find some different washers. And yeah, we were short a couple. The one short one, this hole wasn't threaded up this high. I mean, they're down there. You can't even see. Well, the threads don't start till you're down there that far, and that's pretty much how longer these short bolts are. That's actually one of the head bolts I had to use to do that one. So next step is wipe all those out, wipe some oil in them, time the rings or untime the rings, whatever you want to call it, so all the gaps are in different places, and oil the hell out of the pistons, and put the ring compressor on and start slipping them in, which is going to take a while. I got to dig the ring compressor out yet too. And she's actually down there getting the floor cleaned up enough that creepers will roll on it easier again. Mine was having a hard time. I don't know why. I mean, there's crap stuck to the wheels. But, yeah, that's the next step. And hopefully, well, It's one at a time because you do the rod bearings as you go. Makes it more fun. Caught her laying again. I told her I'm taking a break. She's putting bearings and caps underneath, and I'm dropping the slugs in from the top. Had an interesting one happen. You can do number 1 and number 6 at the same time because the crank's just about the same orientation. Number 1 went in nicely. Number 6, that thing didn't want to drop in. Or, I can't tell you how old this one is. I think this was a replacement though, so this is probably, I think when Dad's toolbox got stolen out of his service truck. This ring compressor's between 40 and 42 years old. Just about the same as the one that it replaced that was in that toolbox. Except this one's bigger. The other one, yeah, we wouldn't be doing these with it. So it's off a little right here. That's got to be even when you start. And I thought it was even on the bottom side, which would be, yeah, it won't show up. But anyway, it's not even right there. Maybe it was the other end of it. Right in there. Anyway, it pinched it in the freaking cylinder. Couldn't go down, couldn't go up. Ty had to sneak a bar up underneath the piston and tappy till I got it out. Then sat here and reset it. And on this one, I mean, everybody times rings different, but about the best thing I've ever seen is the time the one compression ring forward, the other one back, and then this is a one, some oil rings are 3 different pieces, so you put them in different orientations. This one's just got the one gap on it, so I'm putting the gap to the cam side. And really, it doesn't matter how you put them, because every time those pistons go up and down, those rings just keep turning one way or the other. You can put them in perfect, run the thing for 5 minutes and pull a piston out, and the rings will be lined up perfectly straight together. So, but when you go in, you make sure they're not close to each other. But I'm doing that, and then I got half a bearing sitting here to slip on before I put it in. But it was time for a break. Last I saw it was 86 degrees, and that was 2 hours ago. I got a feeling that they lied. I don't even want to know what it is out there, but I told Ty I needed gloves that were drier on the inside, and I needed a paper towel and dry myself off, and she didn't argue, so. But anyway, oil cans there for a reason. Get oil in around the rings, oil in 2 or 3 spots, spin them a little, get them timed, oil the hell out of the inside of this, smear it around, slip it in, and then oil the inside of the liners. All the way around inside. I do it all the way around and all the way down. And those are the 2 we have left. We do have to turn it because you can't put the caps on in that position. It's got to be like over here, or at least straight down or over there a little. But that's what we got so far. Last slug. That's how that thing goes on. Wraps around, you suck it up tight. And that's where the cam is down in there. These line up with the valves, and the ejector squirts into that cup. And these have all been cocked just a little bit from straight for the cam side, so that one should be pretty close. And I'm going to ask Ty if it's lined up straight.
Yep.
She says it is. I'm just going to move that out of the way because I don't need it now. And there it is. Now, see if we can show you that this end is. There it is, right there in the middle of the screen. What do you know? And those are marked on that flat surface in the middle of the screen. Each one of those has a number. That one happens to be number 4. You can read it on the cap. But they are all in there. And for right now, just to be quick, And she is not hammering on it, just running it up for those of you who are going to go, oh my God, you didn't torque it right. Nothing's torqued yet, they're just run up snug. Torque is the next thing. And I already told her, don't let it go bang, but she has a couple of times, but you know, what the hell is those things? Probably like 35 foot-pounds or something. Just want to make sure they're all the way up. And the fun part is next, torquing everything, which will take a while. And clean stuff up, throw some rags over this, and all these bolts will stay in here until we're ready to set the head on. Because if we have, well, we still have to turn the engine over to torque those, get them where you can get on them. And so they stay in there until that's done. Then they come out, nothing gets turned. We'll put the lifters back in, a little chunk of shit there, and then we will set the head on because the lifter's got to go in first. Yeah, you learn something once in a while. And I'm learning the book, and whoever actually threw the engine together the first time weren't necessarily on the same page. The first time this engine was ever into was Dad and I when we had number 6 go bad. And we took all the caps out, the main caps, and just like Tyler and I did, they were set exactly the way they were before. The book says, see if you can see the number, it's right, and it's stamped in just to the right of that cast spot. They're all numbered right, 7, 6, 5, 4, and if I flip the phone it's going to screw up. The book says that number stamped on there goes to the cam side of the engine, which is that side. Well, that number is actually stamped just to the opposite side of the engine. But at the same time, that cast spot with, it's like 4EL or EI, has arrows pointing that way. Makes you wonder. But anyway, I know when Dad and I took it apart, that's exactly how it was. So, you know, like I say, who knows? I can't tell you. And so the only thing that was goofed up was somehow when Dad and I put it back together, that one rod cap got put on wrong. But I made sure everything lined up the way it was supposed to when it was out. So, and it's a day. It is about 90 degrees. I don't know if it's over 90 or not. I'm not going to lay down here and torque this sumbitch tonight. I'm going to go find a cooler, drier spot. But I just thought I'd, you know, show you that. It's kind of interesting. Book says one thing, and you know, the only 2 times this engine's ever been apart, I was involved in it, and every single one of those was taken out and set down exactly the way it took out. So, yeah, I mean, if we was going to get, well, if we'd have got them wrong, we would have probably ruined the crank anyway. Because the reason they're all done that way is when it's line bored, when it's new, or if it gets redone, the caps match the block. And if you flip them around, you could be off, and then things will definitely not last long. And I mean, all the bearings look good, so everything's good there. And tomorrow the fun. Ty's down there getting Tahoe his bottle so that she can go home. And cardboard is there simply because I know it's going to drip. There's already a drip at one end of it. Between the assembly oil on all the bearings and the oil in the liners, it's going to drip. Not as bad as we've had them drip before, but it's still going to do it. That's on there to keep shit out of there, keep it clean. And yeah, we just go from there. So with that, thank you all for watching. Hope you all had a good Thursday. Hope your Friday treats you well. If you can read my scribble, that's what it says in the book. 130 foot-pounds on the rods, loosen them and retorque them 3 times. And mains, 115 foot-pounds. But whenever I torque something, we always go over it 2 or 3 times. Make sure they're actually there. The rods, it says when you're using new bolts to loosen and tighten 3 times. So we'll follow their instructions.